coming fresh off of Jennifer's boot camp, the intensive
Wait, time
boot
out.
camp.
You want to laugh at me right now?
Go ahead.
I didn't even have the volume up right now.
Oh.
Like I didn't.
And
and everything is moving.
That actually looks really cool as a camera.
All right, we're back. I'm gonna chop this up. If you caught the beginning, disregard all of that stuff, guys. So let's start from the beginning. My name is Jennifer Sanchez. Super excited you are watching the Wise Morning Coffee Chat Show, where we love to bring entrepreneurs and highlight great entrepreneurs from the Chicagoland area. So I'm the founder of Wise and the Wise Alliance Network. We put on conference retreats, networking events. We put together coaching programs and mentorship programs. So super excited to be here. I'm also a mom of three. I have three beautiful girls, as well as I'm a real estate investor. So if anyone's looking to sell their home, please reach out to me. I could purchase your property 30 days cash close, no inspections, no surveys, no hidden fees, no real estate agent fees. That's who I am. I will pass it over to my co-host. Today it flowed a lot nicer right now. Go for it. It flowed really good right now.
You actually crushed that. Now we gotta go behind that one. The other one was easier to go behind.
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good. We got 4 people watching. Go for it.
My name is Ron Montesinos. I'm a co-founder and COO of a company called Chatadvise. We do all things SMS. I'm sure you have a social media strategy. If you don't, we know people that can help you out with that. We hope you have an email strategy. Building up the email opt-in list really does help your business, right? But the thing that people don't think much about and don't have a strategy around is texting. And I want you to look at your phone and go, when I needed to reach, I use texting to make that happen. But what if you could scale that around all the different businesses that you have, all around the sales aspect, the customer service aspect, getting reviews, getting surveys done. Those are all things that we can do with texting. So if you're entering more, you know how to reach me. You can reach Jennifer. You can also text the word guest, GUEST, to my phone number, 470-375-9088, and we'll connect.
Awesome. And who is our lovely or guest or show guest today? Can you introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Jenille Reid, and I am your curvy girl. So I was invited on because I recently started a new brand for full-figured and curvy women called Curvy Girl Culture. I am a project manager by day, though, by profession. And so, yeah, I'm just excited to be here with you guys.
Oh, exciting. So we're going to go into the favorite part of our show, which we always have to talk about, coffee time. That is, we're usually jumping on a live stream, but now we're going to places and testing out the show at actual businesses where people conduct business. So I brought, well, Jenille was so kind to bring me my drink. So if you guys are watching, feel free to share what you're drinking this morning. This is an interactive show. If you guys are a supporter of Jenille, make sure you guys let her know you're watching. If you guys are a supporter of Ron or myself, let us know that you're watching. So I'll let you guys go first. What are you drinking, Ron?
H2O.
Of course you're drinking water.
And we were just talking about that, right? Where, what you're putting into your body really does impact how you feel. So share with us what you're drinking.
So, yeah, you and that cup of sugar over there.
I'm sitting here like I'm supposed to be a healthy person.
Here's the thing. I was like, just because of the theme, I bought this. I was like, it's just going to sit and look cute right next to me because what I'm drinking is a detox.
Oh, you're drinking detox. So what is that?
So this is, and so I don't know if I should plug, but is it okay? Okay. So Dr. Bobby Price, he has a holistic approach to healthy eating, and so he has a cleanse, and so this is his detox cleanse, and I'm on day 7 of the 14 days. He also has a 28-day. Haven't done that one yet, but I've done the 7-day 3 times. And so this one is called Parasite Candida. And so it deals with getting at the parasites that are in your body.
Oh, my
yes, ma'am.
God.
The other one is tummy detox. And so look, every time I've done it, I just feel amazing. I feel fabulous. But I do have this just to be on theme.
Oh, so you just have
this is a prop. This is a prop, y'all. Just to be on theme. That's all it is.
Okay, so now they're clowning on me. And if you guys heard me earlier, I was a hot mess. It's Monday, so give me grace. We had a 2-day business event the last 2 days, so it's a full day, so I'm just out of it this morning. So, yes, I have a lot of sugar this morning. I needed it. Usually what I drink, just to redeem myself because of these health fanatics over here, I like black coffee, no cream, no sugar, all right? Stop hating on me. And then we do mushroom coffee all the time, so I'm pretty up there, right? Mushroom coffee, I'm up there, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna lie, I do have a sweet tooth, and I shouldn't have a sweet tooth. But when you don't eat a lot of sugar, then it goes away the cravings. But this weekend I've been eating so horribly that again the sweet tooth is like the sweet monster is just come out. So I'm drinking a Charlie. So if anyone knows what a Charlie is,
I didn't.
It was a theme a couple years ago. I think it was COVID. That little Charlie girl that was a famous little TikToker that she was an influencer. Do you guys remember her? No. Okay, so I'm schooling you guys. I guess this is what happens when you're a mom, right? And you have a preteen. So there's a little girl named Charlie on TikTok. These influencers can influence their kids so easily. And she was she was the first one that was doing all those little dance on TikToks. You know how now it's a thing, little girls like to do dances and stuff. So she was one of the first ones that started doing that. So people would copy her. She got so famous and blew up that Dunkin' Donuts created a drink after her called the Charlie, because on her YouTube channel, she was always talking about this drink, 3 caramel swirls. I don't recommend this. 3 milk and 1 cold foam. Straight sugar. Yes, it's straight sugar, but I need it right now.
I just need to know where's the coffee in your sugar drink.
Oh my God. Where are my wise women over here? Because the loyal ones know I drink healthy and eat healthy. But yeah, so when you told me you were going to Dunkin' this morning, I was like, oh, what do I like from Dunkin'? I was like, I don't like their black coffee from Dunkin'. Okay. It's too bitter for me. If I drink black coffee, it has to be like McDonald's black coffee. I like McDonald's black coffee, just black, no cream, no sugar. So I was like, what's good from Dunkin'? I was like, okay, Charlie. I haven't had that in a while. So yes. So don't crucify me, guys.
Not at all. You schooled me.
Charlie
so is Charlie? Is it Charlie? I think the last name is Glass or something. The dancer.
I don't even remember.
But you know the drink. Okay.
Yeah, I know the drink. And I know the little TikTok girl. I know it is because of my daughter. She's the one that was like, Mom, I want a Charlie. I was like, okay, what's this? So you know how they had, and then you even asked me. She texted me.
I had to call her. So I had to call her because she texted me. Charlie, I said, what do you want to drink? I'll grab it for you. She said, a Charlie. And I was like, okay, is that the autocorrect type thing? Because what the heck is a Charlie?
Yeah, she thought it was like a typo she thought it was a typo on my text. I was like, no, it's called a Charlie. And then she was like, wait, what's a Charlie? I'm like,
I was like, I don't see it on the menu. Can you help me understand what Charlie is?
See, what it is you didn't want any funny looks from the Dunkin' Donuts people going like,
what are you talking about?
Charlie Horse,
there
Charlie
you go.
what?
Yeah, and then there was a line behind me.
Did they know?
Of course they knew. And that's why I had to ask them. I said, so can you explain it to me? Because you know, but I don't know. So help me understand.
I think McDonald's was doing something like that too, weren't they? They were like, you could go up to them and say the Baldwin or something like that. Or there was another rapper, the one that had a lot of controversy because people got hurt at his concert. I forgot his name. He was with one of the little Jenners. He was with one of the. He is, or he's the baby daddy or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, but he's in the circle of that life. So they had a name after a meal after him as well.
Oh, wow.
And I think for a second you could order the Cardi B too at McDonald's. Like there was.
She's on commercials now.
Yeah. I'm not the only crazy one. I hope someone that's watching gets what I'm saying, because I'm like, am I the only one that knows this stuff?
We have another. We have some Jordan there says, I'm drinking. Now I can't see it.
Yep, I was gonna put it on the screen.
I'm drinking my muscle milk protein shake.
Yeah, she got.
There you go, Jordan.
I feel terrible this morning.
There you go, Jordan.
Thank you, Jordan, for sharing. So, anyone else watching, make sure you guys share what you're drinking. That's the whole premise around the show, right? I think one of the things, and the reason why I came up with the theme of the coffee chat was because, one, I like coffee, period, right? Two, I love coffee shops. And then three, I feel like entrepreneurs get better connected at coffee shops, right? So that's kind of where the whole theme came about, right? So anyways, enough about coffee and my unhealthy habit this morning. You guys clowning on me. It's Monday, you guys. Let's go. Let's meet the guest, because I know that's what we're here for. And we're in her. Do you call this a gallery? What would you call this?
This is a studio. Oh, I keep forgetting I'm not mic'd. I'm just talking. So this is the studio space in Bridgeport Arts Center on 35th and Racine.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful. So what made you pick this location?
So interestingly enough, as a project manager, I work with a utility company. We need a storage space for that particular project. And so there's storage space on the other floors of this building. And so I would come in quite often working, and I'm like, okay, they have artists here, huh? And so I have clients that are interested in doing podcasting, and also photographers. So I thought the space could really be beneficial for some people that are in my personal network. And so we've done podcasting here, even though the sound, can be a challenge in moments, but we've been able to do some recordings, video recordings. And so, yeah, the space has just been something I wanted to have for me and my people.
Nice. So tell the viewers that are watching the replay. Oh, we have someone jumping on. Richard, he's an investor and a contractor in my community. Good morning, Richard. Thank you for jumping on. What do you do exactly, so that the viewers can understand what is it that we're discussing?
I'm a serial entrepreneur, I think. That's what I am. That just came to me after talking to you and telling you all the different things I've done.
Oh, yeah.
Because my profession is project and event and program management. So I have an LLC that's under that banner and umbrella. But then I also, on the other side, am a creative. So I have a master's in music and worship leadership. Yeah, music and theology, y'all. I'm not doing anything with it right now, but I do have it.
There's a purpose for it.
I do have it.
There's a purpose for it. We don't know yet.
Yeah, so I kind of have, a couple of lanes that I ride in, because I have my own nonprofit. And so with my nonprofit, I do workforce development for young people. And so to say, what do? I do a couple of different things. So, but project management professionally, creatively, I do some things, and I also have my nonprofit. That's a summary, I think.
And I was gonna say, you showed me your board with how you're planning out to do the business. I mean, she took very little time to go from idea to rolling it out. And things aren't always perfect right out of the gate. And we were having a conversation offline about that. Can you kind of expand on your philosophy around that?
So coming with my theology degree, I'll make it a little bit of Bible for me. So just a little bit. Because there's a scripture in Isaiah that I love, and it's Isaiah 30 that says, as you're going, you're going to hear the voice behind you saying, this is the way, walk in it. And so what I've discovered is how God moves with you as you're moving. And so he can drop something on you, but if you're not moving, you're trying to figure out why there is no movement. It's because you are not moving. And a lot of times what I've had to do is pull myself out of paralysis and just get to moving. And as I'm moving, to our conversation earlier, all the components I need find me. It's been like 100% of the time. And in those moments when it hasn't happened, it's okay. I find myself shifting, but it's even in the movement that he's able to guide. So it's like a car. What do you do with a car that just sits? It's sitting. The car, until you get in motion, is when you're able to finally find a destination. You're able to finally see those interesting places and scenes that you never saw before, but it's in the moving. And so as I move, I find that that's when God is able to speak. And I find that that's where God is able to kind of provide everything I need as I'm moving.
Wow, that's a little deep right there.
I'm sorry, is it too much for a Monday morning?
It's good.
You said inspiration, so
I'm good with it.
You know, no, I'm just joking around. I love this. I love deeper conversations. To me, I mean, you know, the more deeper you can get and get to know an entrepreneur, I think it's amazing, right? Because then the viewers can feel it, you can feel it, you feel the difference. So one thing that Ron was saying it offline as well before we jumped on, right? He was saying like Jennifer moves and she just figures it out. Like I never figure out the pieces. It's like just jump, close your eyes and jump. That's kind of how I've always lived my life. It's like figure it out later. But there's always a window of opportunity. And I feel like whatever faith you're in, it ain't none of my business. But for me, it's like when that window opportunities spiritually opens up, you got to jump through it, right? Don't even think, because that could just shift over very quickly, and then you lose that opportunity, right? So if we're gonna take it to the preaching, we can do preaching today, but like right when he calls you, he's gonna call you, but then you gotta answer. There you go. You know, Ron, go for it. What do you want to talk about?
He puts you where you're at for a reason. And I feel like there's opportunities everywhere that if we open up our aperture to kind of intake all the different things.
He said that a couple
times. Yeah, because we're all there. And sometimes when you're walking with your head down, you're walking kind of feeling bad for yourself. God or whoever you believe in is literally putting people across your way. And all you got to do is see it and then take action to walk through that door. You know, and I'm a big believer in that like, hey, if you slow down, when you're with people, slow down. When you're not in front of someone, work hard to, speed through the things that you need to get done, your to-do list and stuff like that. So I love what you're sharing right now.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. And I think even I have a comment here that I want to share from Richard. He said, that's the best part. Just do it. Because if you don't, then you will not know if it could have worked out.
There you
Love
go.
it.
That's great advice. But yeah, I love the aperture. You know, he mentioned that over
Can
the
you
weekend.
unpack that of aperture? Because I know
some people might not know the definition.
It's a camera, right?
Yeah.
So, in the camera, the app, when you open up your aperture, you're letting more light in, right? And in your business, if your business is kind of dark, and we all go through that as an entrepreneur where you almost feel alone. And even though there's a community out there, they're still not next to you at night when your head is down on the pillow. You're looking up at the ceiling and you're like, what's going to be my next moves, And if you open up your aperture, you're letting that light in and you're seeing the opportunities come in because people are out there to help you and you're on this earth to make an impact. So if your business is passion driven, there is people around you that want to help you. Have to get out there. So that's why connecting the way we do right now, having coffee or water.
Or sugar.
Or breaking bread.
Thanks for making fun of me this morning.
It's not very often that we get a chance to. So.
Yeah, I know. I usually don't allow this, but today's a different day. I need water. I need to sleep.
But we get these opportunities and walking through that door is very important as an entrepreneur and even as a career-oriented person. So.
Wow, I wanted to see what she got to say because I could see her getting emotional over there.
Well, it's because the entrepreneur life is not easy. I just want to say that. And a lot of people, they want to rush to it because you don't want a boss telling you what to do. And I tell people all the time, I have a lot of bosses. You think I get to just make choices and decisions because I don't go to a 9 to 5. I'm like, but every time I sign a contract, that's a new boss. Every time I take on a different project, I'm serving somebody. That's a new boss. And so living life in this faith-focused way, it takes a lot of intention that requires you to sometimes, like, you got to sit with yourself and dig in and figure out all these pieces. Like, why am I not moving? Like, we're talking about movement now. So why am I not moving? And a lot of times it causes you to go into those places. So when you talked about letting the light in, that kind of resonated with me. So I don't know if it's because I think about how dark it can be in those moments that nobody knows about when you're sitting and you're wondering if you're going to be able to pay your bills or if this is really going to work. And being so intentional about being open to that light, whatever that, again, for me, it's God, for you and me, for someone else, it may be another, whatever their spiritual connection is. However, staying open to that is like, that's the part that becomes the grounding. Yeah.
I like that. I mean, yeah, the entrepreneur, we've talked about this, me and Ron. So, like, Ron's my new best friend, him and his girl, right? Like I'm the third wheeler, by the way, right? It's like awkwardly third wheeler. but like, I love Ron and Martha. We always have these conversations every time we have events or networking events. And like, when you are, what do they say? The teacher will appear when the student is ready.
Yeah.
Right? Or like, the opportunity comes when you're ready, even in general. So I feel like when you put yourself out there and you verbally start saying, this is what I'm doing, the right people will always come around. Like, the right people will surround you. And mind you, there are people that will try to take advantage. Of course, that's always
wisdom, though, wise.
Yeah, you got to use wisdom, of course, right? And I think that's what, even just this interaction right now, it was not planned. Look, that was not planned at all, okay?
I met her Friday.
We just met. and when we were talking on the phone, or we were talking about something, separate, a different project that I'm coming alongside you to support, right? And I thought, when I'm talking to her, I'm like, man, she's awesome. We vibe really well. So when I heard the vibe like that, and that's kind of how I always feel people out. Like I listen and I'm like, do I vibe with this person? Do we connect? Do we synergize? Are we aligned? And then I felt like a lot of alignment. So I said, man, I gotta bring her on board. I gotta just support. And I'm a big believer, like, when someone supports me, I'm gonna support them back, and vice versa. Like, that's just who I am as a person. So that's why this all is happening, and I'm getting clowned on this morning. Oh my god! But yeah, that's good. I'm just, I'm thankful that you said yes.
Again, I appreciate it, because these are the opportunities that, again, I couldn't create this on my own. It's interesting because even though I'm an entrepreneur, I'm not aggressive. I'm assertive, but I'm not aggressive. And so sometimes my challenge has been discovering ways to leverage opportunities that others may, because they are aggressive, they just go after it. And I always have been like, okay, well, I'll just wait for. But being able to speak up more about what I'm doing, and that's been my challenge. And so I love the fact that I just went ahead and shared. And as a result of sharing, this unfolded. So again, that's me sitting with myself to say, okay, what are those things that might be holding me back? And if it's my personality, then I can develop through that, so that I can get to and find those moments where I'm able to connect where I'm supposed to connect. So I was just glad, because it just kind of naturally unfolded for us. But had I not shared, you would have never known. And so nobody would know that that's something that I don't normally do, talk about myself and what I'm doing. I'm not good at that. And so I'm like, but you got to get better. And so that's one of the challenges. So I was grateful to be able to just share with you in the beginning. And as you were sharing with what you did with real estate, it was kind of like okay, yeah, I hear me there. Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
So we did an exercise during the boot camp, which was called gold mapping.
Okay.
And I was kind of thinking about, how you're organizing your business and why the real estate part feeds into whys and whys alliance and all that kind of stuff, right? And look what happened. It's because you have your goals mapped that she's able to attract you and listen to like the key things that you're saying and going, wait, this is how I can now put this person on my platform that introduce you to the next person that might open up the door, etc. Right? The other thing that you kind of said was about the aggressiveness.
Yes.
Right? Like, I'm not an aggressive person also by nature,
Yeah.
but I kind of mask it in a way that it's all by equation that I like to share. So it's A times E times S equals R. So that's activity times effectiveness times scalability equals a result. So if your activity levels is really, really high, I no longer have to be pursuing the person to go, hey, did you say you were going to buy this thing? Or you say you're going to let me, sell this thing, right? Because you're in a boutique where you buy, sell, you're trying to fit people in the right clothes, but you can almost come off as too much of like, hey, come here. I'm in this little corner down here. I'll go to you. And then it starts looking very needy.
Yeah.
How are you kind of masking that? Because I know how I mask, and I can share it a little bit later. I'm interested to learn about how do you do that to make sure that you're still getting the business that you need, because you still got to pay for the mortgage, you still got to pay for everything. But how are you not looking aggressive? What's your approach to that?
That's a good question. I think I share and then I just allow people the space to respond. That's what works for me. And so if they do respond, then let's see what the follow-up looks like. If they don't respond, then I just allow them that. I think what becomes aggressive is when you are imposing your will, and some people that's their way, but for me, that's how it feels to me. I want to be very careful. I don't want to shame anybody in that way. But for me, it feels like I'm imposing my will, imposing my plan. And I don't want to impose. I just don't feel like even God doesn't even do that. This is what I'm offering. And so I'm going to give you the space and opportunity to determine if this is what you need. And if it is, here I am. And then I show up. Because once you do connect, then I have to show and prove. So I show up as loudly and fully as I can, effectively as I can, to do just what you said, produce the results that I'm looking for and I'm hoping for.
I love that. I got a comment here that I want to share from my friend over here. I hope I say your name correctly. Irina, right? Irina, Jenille, this is for you. Like a spiritual entrepreneur, we are all striving for the same thing in both professional and personal growth as an entrepreneur. That also helps me find more purpose in my entrepreneurial work.
Love that.
Yeah. I think as I'm listening to both of you talk about how you've managed to, because you say you're not aggressive, and I don't think you're aggressive. I think you're a very peaceful, like calm, centered entrepreneur, right? And I could feel that vibe from you too, like you're calm, right? So I think I show up because I'm not aggressive either. I think I just come off, I am assertive, and I think I'm annoying sometimes, right? I'll keep like just kind of bugging you, like, hey, don't forget about this. Hey, don't forget about that. But very like, again, like just put it out there. Sometimes people just don't have time. Sometimes people we feel like we're imposing, but really they just forget. And they're like, it's okay. Just keep reminding me. Like I've had a lot of people tell me that. I just keep reminding me it's okay. Don't worry about it. And I'm like, okay, cool. But I just show up authentically me. Yeah. That's it. If I'm who I am, I don't play around the bush, beat around the bush, the saying, right? I don't fake it. I show who I am. I share my story. I talk the way I talk. And then from there, it's kind of like the right people that align with who I am, they'll come alongside me and they'll support me and they'll believe in me. And I feel like you have to be passionate about what you do. People can tell, they can smell it. They can smell when it's some bull, right? They can smell like you don't believe it. If you don't believe in yourself, why would other people believe in you? You know,
I have had my passion to be misread for aggression.
Yeah.
Because what I'm passionate about, people know me. I'm there, and I'm like a bull with the horns. Once I connect, but again, I'm not going to hunt you down and chase you down to get it and to see me and to understand me. I'm not doing all of that.
Yeah.
But if you do connect, we're gonna get some stuff done. So yeah, I feel you on that.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of how I think about it. Like if my activity levels are really high, I'm on a podcast here, I'm meeting 10 people a week here. I mean, I'm doing all these things. I want to remember because the money's made up in the follow-up all the time, right?
Yeah.
Relationships are built in the follow-up
Yeah.
all the time. So if you go to a networking event, you met 20 people, but you didn't meet those 20 people afterwards. All you did was shake hands, kiss babies, so to speak. You didn't actually build a relationship with them afterwards without the music,
Right.
without all the distractions in the room, So that to me is why I want to keep my activity levels high, and that first part comes in afterwards. Am I actually getting to know that person? Because if not, the networking is you're just spinning tires.
Yeah, well, I think that's the conversation around purpose to the lady that left the arena. That's the conversation around purpose, as opposed to you just being busy. Because there's a lot of people that are just busy. But when you're connected to purpose, it requires a different level of intentionality.
Yep.
And that intentionality then, because let me just be honest, there sometimes is a push behind me. So that's why I said aggressiveness is a different conversation. That's why I said I'm assertive. Because aggression, again, is when I'm talking about the imposition, I'm talking about trying to make somebody do something. I'm not doing that. However, I'm assertive because there will be that push in moments to say, no, we're going to get this done. If you've agreed to walk with me, if you've agreed to align with me, then okay. Because so this didn't happen because I just like woke up and walked in the room. It happened because I was intentional. And I said, this is what's going to do. And then people that decided to align with me, they're looking for the direction, they're looking for the activity, they're looking for the plan. And then I lead them in that. That required that assertiveness because I understand what my purpose is. So that it's always that push behind me to move with precision.
Oh, that's really
no
good.
one wants to get behind someone who doesn't have a vision and passion for what they're doing.
Oh,
and it's just
sure.
it's just coming from you,
Oh
Love
my
it.
God, that's so true. I mean, even like in life, like partnerships or relationships, romantic or friendships. Why would you come alongside anyone if you don't see their vision? Like, I mean, we've all. I don't know if Ron's been married. I know Ron's with Marta, but I don't know if he's ever been married. But I know you've been married and I've been married. And like, if the spouse doesn't have a vision, how can you follow? Especially when you're trying to do something together. So like, I think overall, I agree with what you're saying, and I felt what you said when you said something pushes me. And I was like, damn, that was me this morning. Something pushed me out of bed
because sometimes we don't feel like it. Let's just be honest. I think it's not like I wake up every morning like, oh my God, another day of being an entrepreneur. No, it's not that. It's not that life.
I do love waking up in the morning and being, but I get it when you're tired.
Well, there are moments when, again, that's why I said it's not every morning. Like when you woke up and I talked to you on the phone, you didn't sound like
I was like,
right. But again, it's not from a negative place. It's just in this human experience, your body gets tired.
Yes, absolutely.
Your soul sometimes needs to be nourished in a way. Absolutely. And so, but we keep moving because that thing is still pushing us through whatever your soul and your body may be in opposition to in that moment. Because again, and that's why I love when you brought up purpose, because I think being attached to purpose is what helps in that process to say, yeah, but I got something to do. Yeah. I got somewhere to be. I got somebody to meet. And so I move past whatever I'm feeling, because you're going to feel a whole lot of different things, emotions, but you push past it.
Oh, when you're in alignment, and I don't know if Ron has something to say, because he sounds like he does. I feel like he does. But when you're, when you're in alignment, right? All these, like, you're in purpose. That means that you're in alignment. You're in your calling. Then the opportunities come, right? That's kind of what I'm like sensing. And like, you have to be, like I'm already emphasizing, you have to be available. I'm going to share a quick story. I've been putting it. This is going to be my 8th retreat this September. My 8th retreat. Okay, for women. I remember the first 3 to 4 years, I would like not want to do this, you know? And I've been there in those dark moments where you're like, you know, you're on the floor, you're crying, and you're like,
What am I doing?
why are you making me do
What am I
this,
doing?
God? You know? Like, you brought me here. And I've had moments where, like, my life has been shattered and destroyed, where multiple times reoccurring, where you like you get humbled back to the ground and you gotta start back ground up. And many entrepreneurs might understand that feeling of like getting rebuilt again, right? So I remember like with the retreat, you know, it was 3rd or 4th one, and sometimes I'd be like, and if my wise women are watching, you know, just bear with me here, right? There was times that I would not, it wasn't profitable, right? Now it's profitable, but it took me so many times to figure out what's my sweet spot, number wise. What should I be charging? Understanding my audience, understanding their budget and what they can afford, understanding what, right? There's like this whole like, and they say the first year you take a loss, the second year you break even, the 3rd year you make a profit, right? That's what they say when it comes to starting a business. And I just remember like, oh, I don't want to do this no more. Like I would like after the event be like, that's it. That's my last retreat. Doing it no more. I'm done. And then like my team at first would be like, okay, we're not doing it. But now when they heard me maybe like the 3rd year. They're like, shut up, Jennifer. You know, you're going to do it again. You're doing this again. Like, you know, but what happens is I see one woman's life change, or I see the impact. And even though it's like, oh, okay, fine, you know, let's do it again, because I see the change. So then now after the 8th year, I could be like, dang, like I've had 1 year where I baptized, not me, I had a pastor baptize 18 women at the beach at my retreat. And I was just like, okay, God, I get it. You know, I get why you make me do this, right? But it's not until you see the fruit, like you have to toil the ground. You have to work that soil until you finally see the manifestation, or you see the results. And then you can be like, I get it. But it takes a lot of like, do it again, Jennifer. Do it again, Jennifer. I don't know, Ron, how you feel about that.
No, I mean, that's a perfect segue to what I was going to say. Was I realized over the last couple of years, you know, my motivation was in the beginning like, oh, I want to retire my parents. Oh, I want to do better, you know, for my future family. It was all kind of like centered around my circle. Then I realized like now we have employees. They're paying their mortgages. They're paying their cars. You know, they're going to start their own families. Like now I have to show up even more. I have the sense of purpose is there even more, you know, so not only for the customers, not only for like my family, it's also for like, it's the trifecta, you know, how can I not want to wake up, you know? Like today, I really thought I was going to be tired. When I woke up, I was like, Jennifer's counting on me. Oh wait, I got to make sure she looks good as the co-host, you know? Like that was a purpose for me, you know? So like to me, it's finding those things that you can like see what you're doing, what your goal is, and how it can align to your community. With that said, what is the purpose of your business here? Curvy Girl Culture.
Yes. Beautiful question, because it actually, I'm sitting over here like,
let me go at it.
because when Jennifer said what I'm hearing is what is near and dear to my heart is conversations around sustainability. That's what this is about. And so what we find is, so I think of it like this. I think of buildings that are built and the time that they take to lay foundations. I get a little nervous when you throw a building up in 2 weeks, because I don't know if that building is going to last me.
Easy come, easy go.
Sir, that part. And so when I think of sustainability, that is the purpose of Curvy Girl Culture. What I want to do is inspire women to be the best versions of themselves and to develop, maintain habits and activities that are sustainable for wellness. That's the purpose. And so let's think about weight loss, like what you do when you're taking care of your body. You may not see the results right away. But again, the push behind you is because you know that eventually if you keep going,
Ding, ding, ding.
Eventually, you keep going if you're developing and putting the right pieces in place for you, because it's that individual. Because what works for me may not work for you, and so what God is giving you to do, what's in your hands and what's in your hands may look different than what's in my hands. But what's in my hands is what can build something sustainable for me. And so I tell people all the time, the way I move is so that I can build for my 60-year-old self. That's the way I move. I'm moving for who I am 10 years from now. And so Curvy Girl Culture was birthed out of that desire for me to inspire women to do the same thing, especially women of a certain size and shape. And so, again, the conversation around what's sustainable for wellness is what leads me in my understanding that I'm not trying to promote unhealthy lifestyles. That's not what I'm doing. I'm not trying, and again, I'm not shaming size either way.
Just joking.
and I'm not size shaming either way. But my conversation is, think about is what you're doing sustainable for you 10 years from now. And so let's make better choices for ourselves. You keep telling me you love yourself. Love yourself by making better choices for yourself. That's going to build sustainability.
That was like a mic drop right there. That was a big mic drop.
Yeah.
You know, as you were speaking, I was like, that's where that master's degree is working from. You know, that's where the theology is, you know.
It's in this.
It's like, there. You know, you could hear it. You could hear it. But no, I love the whole sustainability. I love what you were saying about, like, you have employees, you got to take care of them. They're trying to, you know, they're living, they're paying mortgages. Now that's an effort, but you know, especially what you were saying right now, like the whole foundation work, making sure that the foundation is proper. I mean, it's amazing what you're doing, and it's amazing how you use Curvy Girl culture to kind of inspire women. Obviously, I picked the wrong drink for this one.
It's okay, we can make different choices.
Yeah, no. But I get even the whole idea of, so I'm going to share another segue story. I guess I'd like to tell stories this morning. You know, my daughter just recently, I've been getting into heavy lifting. I'm a marathon runner, right? I ran my first marathon in 2018, ran another marathon in 2022. I was such a big advocate for running. And recently I've slowed down on the running side because I'm getting more into the lifting side of things now. I like lifting heavy. So if some of you guys have been following me, you guys see I'm at the gym, I'm squatting, I'm bench pressing, I'm, hack squat, whatever. All the deadlifting, I'm doing all that good stuff, I think I did 220 the other day on the hack squat machine. Wait,
what's a hack squat machine?
It's the one that you go under and it's like the pads are on top and you're facing the machine and you're squatting down.
Oh wow.
So I'm lifting heavy, right? And I'm loving it because I could see the difference in the body, how the body changes, right? And I'm sitting here can you imagine that? I've been doing this for 2 years and I'm lost weight. I look the way that I look. Can you imagine what another 2 years is going to look like? What I'm going to look like in 2 more years, right? Like the consistency and how I'm going to feel, right? But here's the kicker. My daughter, my 10-year-old, I showed her a picture and I got great legs. I'm just going to say that, right? So I'm going to embrace it. I'm not happy about my belly, but it's all right. My legs are great.
I love it.
Still working on it. But my daughter looks at this picture, she's like, Mom, she's 10. She's like, oh my God, you did it. I'm like, I did what? I'm sitting here like, what are you talking about? She's like, you said you wanted to look like this and now you're looking like this. You told me this 2 years ago. Like she remembered this. And I guess because I'm a big vision board person too. Okay. Like if I showed you my phone, even though the screen is cracked, you could see I have my vision board on the screen of my phone. Right? Let me show you guys. I can't show the viewers, but I'll show at least you guys. If I could open up my screen right now, right? My bad. Hold on. I'm gonna show you guys. But I carry my vision board on my phone, right? Yeah. And the running's there, the lifting's there, the mic is there, relationship, all that masters, all that's on there, right? It's still working towards the vision that I have for my life. And I guess she saw that. She saw the fit girl there, the squatting, and I've been considering competitive bodybuilding. Like it's something that maybe down the road I would want to do, right? And she's like, "You're doing it, Mom." And for my 10-year-old to tell me
I love it.
that she remembers that, I said, dang, it's just all those little steps, all that little effort that you do to get to where you're trying to be. So I am healthy, you guys. I am.
No, I mean, look, honestly, you're impacting your child not by what you're saying, but by what you're actually doing.
Powerful.
You know, like that's just a whole nother level of like, motivation and things like that. So
it is. Yeah, I mean, because again, the legacy that you're leaving by your demonstration, because again, they're watching. And so and I love working with young people because they do watch. They watch us more than we realize. So I work a lot with youth with my nonprofit, and it's interesting the nuances that they pick up. And again, it's that kind of like they don't tell me, show me kind of approach. And I think that's this generation anyway, because they've heard a lot, and so it's no, I want to see I want to see it produced. And so that's powerful. That's powerful.
I used to powerlift.
Oh, that's
actually right here in this location.
Talking about it.
Yeah. You sure did.
Yeah.
You sure did.
It was actually at the gym right over here. And basically, like I went to nationals, and in the state here, I came in second place a couple years ago for the state competition.
That's cool.
So it was like a deadlift of 545, I believe, a squat of 525. Yeah. At a body weight of 163. I would walk around 175, 180 and cut down to 163. I'm thinking of the pounds because we did everything in kilos. And then bench 300.
Oh wow.
So
that's
you have to pause
amazing.
it and then go up.
That's
So
awesome.
if you want tips on that, that's one thing I know. Building muscle, not the best. There's a difference between building muscle and then strength. You know, so I always train for like strength and competing, not so much bodybuilding aspect of things.
Got it.
But now that my life has kind of like changed and my priorities changed, I'm more going towards like, hey, how long can I live healthy, functional, and not breaking anything and stuff like that. Sustainable is the 2024 word, I guess. Now
that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's what sustainable. I like that word. I love that. I didn't know that. I was like, we got something else like that in common, right? No, yeah, I love it. The lifting side now, and I'm just like, man, I could really see myself like embracing this. I've done other things. I've done other sports. Like I said, running. I mean, I've been a tomboy all my life, so I athletically, I've always been there. I was a swimmer, in college and stuff like that. Not in college, but during college, I used to be a CPS lifeguard. So I used to coach all the time. I coach kids, so I get it. Doing all that athletic stuff. But yeah, that's pretty cool.
Well, that makes up for the cup of sugar you got.
Actually, I got something to say about that.
Oh, Lord, no. All right. Good.
People always want to make these drastic changes, like you were the person that can eat a whole Little Caesars pizza, and now you're gonna go eat some salads only. You're probably not gonna keep up with that very long, right? But what about if you cut the whole pizza that you're eating in half? What does that look like? What do you look like after 3 months of doing that? So if you're someone that like really overeats all the time, like just don't change what you're eating, just cut what you're eating in half or a quarter or whatever it works for you, because I'm a big person that believes in like hitting singles stacks things up and sets you up to be able to hit home runs, and now someone recently told me, they're like, you know what, Ron, you kept saying that you've been hitting singles, but whenever I'm looking at your progress, in your business, you're starting to hit many home runs here. I was like, to me, they're still singles because of the mentality, but it starts adding up and people start seeing it, and then it starts making you think bigger, and you're building off a good foundation, a sustainable foundation where people know you're not leaving overnight. You're not quitting because you've been doing it year over year over year, doing it. So even if you have one of those days that's like not a good day or a week that's not a good week, it's because you're building up that habit. That's what really counts, not the huge announcement, I'm going to do this. That's just the beginning, but that's the easy part. Making the single little changes, incremental changes makes a big difference.
Okay, so I'm trying to remember the name of the book that I read. that talks about that. Atomic Habits.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah. And so it was interesting because when I read Atomic Habits, well, let me say it read. When I listened to
I
Atomic
got the
Habits.
audible too. I got the audible too.
When I listened to Atomic Habits, it was confirming in the weirdest way because that was a lot of what I was already doing. I was like, oh, okay, so this is a thing. Because I was doing exactly that. So there's a phrase I like to use. It's called moderation, not deprivation. That's a phrase that I had because, again, to your point, now there are certain things that I just had to cut out, but that's me. But I got to the point where I could cut them out.
Yeah.
Before that, it was a slow crawl. However, there are other things that I do in moderation. And so, again, I don't have to deprive myself of absolutely everything, but I do the same thing. So instead of going and getting like a whole cake, you get a slice, and why don't you draw that slice out over maybe a day or two? If you just have to have that cake. Now, again,
So like, I don't have that discipline.
but I had to get to that point where I did because I knew what I was doing was working against me. Yeah. And so again, if we're talking about being in alignment with ourselves. Absolutely. Is the conversation around intentionality. Absolutely. So if you're not in alignment with yourself, again, what's the best for me? How do I align then these activities in my life then to promote and support what's best for me? Absolutely. Those are the small, subtle changes that you're talking about. When you look up and it's like, oh, wait, this has produced something different in my life.
Absolutely. I think what really helps, at least, you know, if you have that, I have a big sweet tooth. So that's one of my, like, I know that. I know it. Don't show me that chocolate cake. Don't get away. Like my sister, so since I've been really like mindful of what I mean, I try to do more high protein, especially with the lifting. It's like, let me just do a lot of high protein stuff, get filled, do the water thing, right? Do low carbs, right? Like, and then when there's something sugary, I might nibble on it, right? But I always try not to have it in my house. Like that's my thing. Like if it's in my house, it's gonna, like I told you guys, you
destroy it.
Yeah. So
some things I just can't do, so I don't bring it inside.
So in my business event, we had leftover pizza, and I was trying to get people to take it, and I should have just thrown the thing out. But knowing me and my frugal person, I don't like.
That's another thing we have in common, by the way.
Yeah, I am frugal, right? And I was just like, dang, like that's a whole like little like a good chunk of pizza, right? So I was like, I'll just take it home. Well, I didn't have kids this weekend. Like they were with their dad. So I was like,
can't let the pizza just sit there.
You know, and I was sitting there like, you know, and I was supposed to go out, like I was gonna go hang out with a friend after one of the days. Thank God I didn't. And then I was like, there's pizza in the fridge, and I love cold pizza. So I was like, oh man. So like throughout the night, throughout the evening, I just kept going back and nibbling. I was like, oh, this cheese and dairy does not work well with my body. I know my body's it's gonna be suffering tomorrow. And I told you guys, like, I just don't feel the best right now because I ate the pizza. You know, stay away from that pizza, man.
Yeah. Stay away. But those are the choices that we have to make. We got to be honest with ourselves about what because again, moderation, not deprivation, does not apply across the board for me. Because there are certain things that I just can't do because it does not align with who I want to be. Yeah. And I know I want to be healthy. I want to be whole. I want to function in a very particular way. And so I remember at my heaviest in 2019, my knees were aching. And I have a picture that I show people because I call myself a Teletubby because I had an orange shirt on and I looked just round every time.
I used to love Teletubbies.
Girl, that Teletubby picture. I was like, so this is not what we want to do. And I have a whole segment for Curvy Girl Culture that I'm going to introduce called The Mirror. Because it's this conversation that I had to start having with myself where I literally and figuratively I used to avoid mirrors. I would walk past them, didn't want to look, didn't want to see because I knew I wasn't well, but I didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want to deal with what I knew was there. Didn't want to. And so in 2019, I had been divorced for a year and then I had found myself in another situation. And I said, what are you doing? And it was almost like God came and sat me and said, okay, so you ready? Sit in front of this mirror and I want you to look and see what you did to yourself. Again, I ain't conversation about what somebody else did to me. These were your choices. And so these were your choices. So what are you going to do differently? And so from 2019 into now, I've been slowly understanding who I am, taking that time and slowly making different decisions for myself. And so there's certain things I can do, but certain things that I know if I go there, yeah, no, that's not going to be good. So let me not go there at all. But then there are other areas that I know, okay, I can manage this. And if I can manage it, how do I manage it so that I can still maintain myself without going over the edge?
Yeah, we have some comments here I want to share. Mari said, love this. And then Marta,
So that's
she said, your sweetie pie, she said, I love sweets too. I have been reducing how much cake I eat.
Yeah, and it's to an entrepreneur, right? Because the business kind of like podcast, but we're talking about what we're putting into our bodies because we need energy.
To do
right?
the work.
Exactly.
Yes.
We need energies to run through those doors. We need energies to jump over the wall if we have to. Energy to get down on the floor and crawl through it if it needs to. Because either way, the thing has to get done. But if you don't have the energy to do it,
sounds like we're breaking out of jail or something.
You know?
Like, you're like, go down, crawl out.
That's the truth.
But we
you know?
are the product. We are the service.
Of course.
If we go down, we are the product. We are the service. If we go down, there is no business. Now, again, you may have employees. I don't. It's
true.
just me. And if you're at the helm of your business, then what happens? So sustaining this, that's important. It's paramount to moving your business.
Oh, for sure. I remember one time I watched a video and it said taking care of yourself, health is personal development.
Absolutely.
You know, and I think there's something mentally that happens when you work out or even eating healthy. Like you feel better, right? When you eat healthy, you feel better when you don't eat a lot of salt and sugar. Like your body doesn't retain water and stuff like that. And you know, they say health is your wealth. It is because it don't matter how much money you make. It don't matter how profitable you are. If you're sick as a dog and you can't even enjoy what you're making or what you're doing, then what's the point?
Right.
So yeah, I totally get that. Like taking care of the body, taking care of the temple, you know, the body's the temple of the Holy Spirit,
Your
right?
mind,
Yeah.
So it's like
absolutely.
So the mind, the soul. So again, if the soul is the spirit soul, if it's your mind, your will, and your emotions, when we're talking soul. So that's the other aspect of it. So I have a good friend of mine. He introduced me to this word. He's a wordsmith. He loves words. And so every time I talk to him, I can guarantee I may learn a different word. So he told me we're tripartite beings.
Yeah.
So shout out to the tripartite being. You know who you are. And so with that is we are definitely spirit, soul, body, but we tend to not focus our efforts, our activities, sustainable activities along that crescent to cover all of them. Sometimes it's focused on the body. Sometimes it's but again, it's all three. And so again, with the soul aspect, because we've talked spirit, and we're talking purpose and all of that. We talk body, but then we have to also talk soul. Because that soul aspect is, again, your mind, your will, and your emotion. What the body and the effect that feels as well.
Oh, sure.
And so situations in our lives as entrepreneurs where we don't have the opportunity to just, I'm gonna take like a month days. I can't do that. If I take off mental health days for a month, unless I have built into my financials to carry that, which means that I have to be intentional about taking care of my mental, my health, my soul health, soul wealth. I got to be intentional about that because again, life is going to keep life. Life is going to continue to life. So it's going to happen. So what happens when you get divorced? Because Jennifer and I were talking about that. So I can't stop. Like, okay, I got to keep moving, especially if it's something that there's some trauma built into that situation. So what do? So I got to cry at night and then get up the next morning. But I have to be intentional about taking care of my wellness. And so that was the other part about sitting in that mirror. It wasn't just about what I did to my body. It was also about where I was in my soul space and making sure that I focus my energy now on taking care of me, all three aspects of who I am.
Yeah. Can I share one book that really, I used to run a book club in my membership community, and I would encourage women to read books because Marta knows this. I've said it to her. Leaders are readers, right? And the more you read, I mean, it's like a crazy statistical number that CEOs read like 90 something books or 100 books. I don't know. It was a crazy number that I read. I was like, oh. So I always try to like, let me see if I can beat that number. How many books can I read this month? Because I want to beat that number, right? But one of the books that really, I need to take this lock off. But one of the books that really, excuse my French, you guys, how to make shit happen, make more money, it's make more money, get better health. Let me open this up because it's on my Audible. How to make shit happen, make more money, get better shape, create epic relations, control your life. It's by Sean Whalen. And I remember in the book, one of the biggest things that he was talking about was make sure that you always do every day something for your mind, every day something for your spirit, every day something for your body, and every day something for your relationships. And that was just like, he calls it something. I don't remember if it was like the core 4 or something 4, but it was just like every day you hit something related to that, you're always going to be better the next day.
Love it.
Yeah. So I was just like, that's so simple. Like, we don't even think about that. Did I take care of something for my body today? Did I get a spiritual feeding today? Did I work out? Did I eat healthy? Did I pay attention to my loved ones and spend time with them? Right? Like, really critical. But I think that's something that I wanted to share because that's been something that's helped me change my life and do as how I do what I do.
We had a guest on our podcast named Toby, and Martha and I started a podcast because we travel, so it's like a traveling podcast. And what Toby shared was, he's like, as a salesperson, as a founder, as someone who's going to go out there and have to have all these conversations, make sure you save words for when you get home.
I love that.
And if you save words for when you get home, then you're also feeding into that relationship. Because if you go to home exhausted, ready to just pass out, and you don't have any words saved in your tank, then they're not getting the best version of you. You're giving the best version outside your house. And what's that when your house is not strong,
Oh, that's so
good. The other thing that we were saying, like, I know you said it sounds like a prison. The truth is, a lot of entrepreneurs are leaving that cultural world, the corporate world, and going in to start their own business. They don't have these guardrails, and what you're signing up for, the truth is modern day slavery. Because when you're an entrepreneur, you're starting from square zero. There is no 9 to 5. You're going to get paid time and a half. There is no like, oh, people are going to come in because they recognize your brand. Mm-hmm. Like, you have to make it happen. And if you don't put processes in place, you don't write down the things that are working, and you want to hire people eventually, they won't know how to help you. You're going to give them a free reign to do whatever they want. And the truth is, we're probably going to hire people who are going to be paid minimum wage, be paid a little lower. And if you hire someone like that doesn't come with playbooks already, then you're setting them up for failure because you never showed them, never wrote down what actually worked, what things you need from them. Yeah. So I'm a big believer in, as you do things and you find out what's working, you're writing stuff down so that you can hire a more range of people. Because as your business grows, then you can bring in people that are better than you, that are specialized in certain aspects. Yeah. So it's a slow crawl going there.
Got to. Yeah. We got some comments here. I want to make sure I show them. This one's from Tamika McKay. She said, "I'm sorry, sis."
Hi, sister.
She said, "I'm sorry, sis, but I need my sweets. I cannot eat tofu like you."
She says I eat hay.
I used to have a coworker that said salad was like rabbit food. I was like,
Stop it. Yeah, I still love you. I still love you, sister.
And then we have another comment here. We don't have sick days, which is true. We don't have sick days. And then we have another comment here. It says, study was done once entrepreneur millionaires read one book a week, and they were asked what kind of books do they read. They said self-help books.
Thank you.
So I don't have time to like read stories. Like, no disrespect to people that love like the novels and the stories and stuff like that. Like, that's all fine and dandy and great. Oh, and your sister said, I love you more. So she wrote, I love you more. Like, it's all fine and dandy, the novels, and I know there's people that really love to read, and I get it. But like, I'll watch that in a movie. Like, I don't got time for that. Like, give me a self-help book. I'll read this book. I'll do the audio book, right? But like stories, I'll watch them instead of reading them. That's kind of just my approach. So I agree with Irina. The self-help books is what majority of entrepreneurs read.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're in this business for, I believe, a year and a half. Is that
So
correct?
no.
No. What was the time frame?
So I'm in the studio for a year and a half.
Mhm.
The business, so Curvy Girl Culture, actually, I had the idea last year. The business is only about a month old, maybe a month and a half. And so this, what you're seeing behind me is the first event that I hosted under my Curvy Girl Culture brand, which is, we called it Curvy Girl Closet. And so it was a resale event where people gave me donations for clothing and items. This is my favorite. This is my girlfriend here. Is she cute, y'all? Hey, y'all. She pretty. And so what I decided to do was to hold an event where people could come and donate money for the items that they were interested in. And then the donations are going towards services and programs for personal development for young men and young women.
Oh, wow, that's pretty cool. So there's a social cause
Oh,
behind
absolutely.
your mission.
Couldn't get away from that.
So yeah, I want to kind of go forward 5 years or however long you want to go. Okay, because you come from a project management background, so at the end of the day, you're still somewhat analytical, right?
Yes.
And you got a vision,
Yes.
but it's just you today.
Yes.
What does success look like for you 5 years from now, 10 years from now? What is like, wow, I am loving it now. Not loving like the day-to-day right now where we just gotta love it because that's what we're in, but like the actual like the first time you get to come up for air.
Okay, do we do that? Do we come up for air? Please, somebody out there let me know. Do we ever come up for air as entrepreneurs? Because it feels like it's always something new coming to surface. But I think I understand your question. Let me be honest. So I live a very streamlined, low overhead type of lifestyle right now. So I think what that would look like would be more personal for me, where I would feel like I could take a week off and where I was living and residing, like looking out or waking up in a space that, you know, I had dreamed about. I think for me, that's my moment. And again, I know that's a build up. It takes some, you know, it takes time to get there. But personally, that's what that would look like for me. Like on the business side of it, I think when I'm able to see, because some of what this is for me also is because I'm a creative, I want to get back to some things that I used to do before I was dropped into this project management. Because I've been doing project management. I was sharing with Ron earlier. It's since 2008, and so being a project manager as an independent contractor. So understand, I don't work for a company. I'm an independent contractor. That's a different grind. That's that entrepreneurial grind, right? But this being my business, where it's my vision, my mission, my focus, allows me then to reconnect with my creative self. And so the curvy girl, that's me, that I am, I have loves, I have passions and things that I want to see done and expressed. And so on the creative side, I want to be able, I want my phone to ring saying, hey, can I get on your platform? I think that would be from a curvy girl out there doing her thing, because there are women that I want to highlight and showcase that, again, are working, moving, living, sustaining their lives, but they're proud of the shell that they're in, and they're, you know, taking care of this shell and supporting this shell and making the good choices that align with what this shell can be optimally. Those are the women that I want to feature. And so if my phone were to ring with somebody, like, I have a favorite artist, I'm a shout her out. Liv Warfield is one of my favorite artists. And so she actually just received a golden buzzer on America's Got Talent. But see, I was familiar with her from a show she did here in Chicago that I was last year was introduced to. And this girl, she's, again, when I say full figured, I mean any woman, I'm thinking maybe oversized 8. I think that's maybe a pretty safe designation for what is considered full figured. So I would put her, you know, she's got curves. This woman was singing her face off on silks as she was twirling on silks, singing her face off. And so after that, I got a chance to see her live in concert at City Winery. She talked about that experience. And she talked about what that meant for her as a curvy woman to be on silks singing. And so those are the type of women that I want to feature. And so just to have my phone ring, I know it was a long answer. I think it's because I didn't know what to say at first.
Yeah.
So I talked myself into it. I'm like, let me talk it through and see what comes up for me. And I think that's what comes up for me, being like an ambassador for women that have curves, that they can look at me and say, okay, that's, you know, I don't want to say hashtag goals, but it's like, okay, I can do it if she can do it. And have them reach out and call. And those especially those creative women, I love that space.
Yeah, and Ron, cover your ears. No, just like, not just joking. I think one of the things is like curvier women or bigger women or fuller women. You know, you got more to love, right? There are certain struggles that bigger women deal with, right? And I'm sure there's struggles that smaller women deal with, but I can't resonate with any of that, you know? But I think like finding the right clothing, making sure you feel confident in the clothing, making sure that, you know, it highlights your best features, right? Those are all real big things that I think sometimes like curvier women struggle with, right? And then finding appropriate clothes for your body type, right? Like it's a struggle, you know? And then I know the bigger that I was, right? I mean, look, when I have kids, I get like a house. All right. I become a house, literally. Like I could get up to 250. All my kids made me get big. Right. And that's me, like, I was still a fatty, but you know, like, you know, but I remember like my first daughter, I still got pretty big, and people were like, you don't look big, but I was like, nah, I'm big, you know, like I carry weight well, I guess, whatever. But I remember like eating whatever I wanted. Like, I'm pregnant. Who cares? I'm eating for two. I was like 20. I was like shoving things in my mouth. Like, whatever. You have kids, right? So you
No,
you don't have kids. Okay, you don't have.
I don't
kids?
have any kids.
Okay. So I was
my fat was gained all because it was me.
Oh no,
doing me.
Because I was you know when I was 20, I was just throwing things in my mouth. Like, who cares, right? Then afterwards, I was able to bounce back. Like, whatever. Second kid. I should take it a little easy. Like I shouldn't be eating like this. I'll be a little mindful. Still, whatever. Still got the same size. The last kid I had, I was trying to be so healthy. I still got big as a house. It was like, this ain't working for me. Like, you know, it don't matter. But like, it's hard after you have a kid or whatever situation you're in life, divorce or whatever, and then you gain the weight and you have to lose it. Holy moly. The older you get, the harder it is. It's like, it's real, like genetics and your metabolism and all of that stuff. It's so real.
So the conversation that I want to have is actually twofold, though, because it's size and shape. Because you have some women that are smaller size, but they have like large curves.
Sure.
And so I'm engaging them as well, because for me, it's been a double-edged sword, because even at my smallest, I still had a certain body part that people always identify me by the first moment they meet me. And so they describe me, oh, you mean the girl with? Yeah, that hurt. Okay. And so I couldn't escape it. And so again, having those conversations around the challenges that happen when people don't see you beyond your curves, and how you see yourself with your curves. Does that lead the conversation for you? Are you developing beyond just this descriptor of you? And so I want to have those conversations as well, because yes, it's a size conversation, but even at my smallest, I was shaped in a way where I wasn't getting under a size 10. And so I didn't want to. I had a trainer, love her. But this woman told me, oh, I can get you down to a size 6. I said, ma'am, let me help you understand. I don't want these things on top of a size 6 body. I would look retarded, because your assumption is I have them because I'm overweight. No, I have them because genetically, if you look at my background, I get these from my great grandmother. She had them. She passed them to me and said, here you go, take on the legacy. So I'm taking on the family legacy of having these. And so on a size 6 body, no ma'am, we don't want to see that on a size 6.
I'm just wondering what's going on in Ron's head.
I was just about to go there too. I was like, you know what? Another thing I like about Jennifer is that at the bank, I have been put in so many situations when I worked at Citibank, and I kind of miss that, so like that's why when I told my business partner, like, hey, okay, now I'm gonna take up ownership, we're gonna make this official, blah blah blah. I was like, don't stop me in whatever niche I want to go in. Like I know riches are in the niches. I don't care about that because I'm not in it for just the money. I'm in it to like solve, problems for small business owners. They're normally neglected on the texting side because they think they're too small for it, et cetera, et cetera. I was like, so don't put me in a box for niches, right? Here comes Jennifer saying, hey, can you help me be on a co-host? Never knowing what I'm going to be, what kind of conversation I'm going to be in. And I want to thank you for that because I love it. But
I did warn her.
But something that you told me too when we were, walking to your space here, you were telling me like from your event, you're like, I started getting people who could find clothes for them at a traditional store saying like, I wish you had that for my size. And because you're really catering to the people that are otherwise neglected at these big retail stores,
Yes.
and that's when you know that you're doing something right, and it's so true. Like you kind of are like, you can control what you eat, to a certain extent. You can control, like living a bit of healthier life, but you can't control everything. There's some things that are truly passed on to you. Right. From the platform perspective, like how are you planning on educating people about what to eat? Like I know this is clothing here that we're seeing, but it sounds like you want a big platform. Absolutely. It's kind of like that's where my vision question was going, kind of hinting at too, is what does this look like from when it's unraveled? And I know some of you gotta figure it out as we go, but unraveling it a little bit so that we can hold you accountable.
Oh, absolutely. Please do. Absolutely. So so the idea is that this is a community. So with that, I have professionals in certain spaces that I am connecting to this vision. And so they're called Curvy Girl Contributors. So they'll be posting on the platform, speaking to these various things. So like I have one of my sisters and she just went through a weight loss transformation, over 130 pounds, lost naturally. And so she started a business, and I'm gonna shout you out too. Spirit Soul Science. Hey. And so Spirit Soul Science, again, she is a certified nutrition coach. This happened as a result of her process. And with that, I'm able then to share her, and she's curvy as they come, even small. She's still curvy. She can't do nothing about that. She got curves that I don't even think she can go under the knife for these curves she got. And so again, it's still the same conversation. So even if she's a size 8, she still is very curvy. And so I'm hitting all of these notes around size, shape, but again, how are we identifying within that? And so yes, there will be Curvy Girl Contributors. I have another friend of mine, Danielle. Hey, that's who Jordan was. Hey, Jordan. Oh. And so Jordan is another friend of mine. And so she's going to be tackling these personal development conversations, self-development conversations. So she's already sent me an article that I've been able to post on my website, because these are women that are passionate, just like I am, about wellness, sustaining wellness. I'm going to beat it like a drum. Sustaining wellness is the focus. And so, yes, on my website, I want to use my website to do that, where we're sharing information. I want to share tips and tricks because, again, I'm not trying to be a size 6. If you want to be a size 6, God bless your ministry. It's not my call. I know what wellness looks like for me. And so if I'm a size 14 and I still feel good, I know I'm taking care of my body, I'm active, then who's to say, because I want to take some of that stigma off. And that's what I'm going to do with the website. So it looks like the website is robust with information, robust with conversation about activities and things that we can get involved in that will help us sustain our wellness.
It's very one-dimensional thinking when you see a number on the scale. It's very one-dimensional thinking. God, so when you're seeing like the weight on the size of a dress, yes, right, or pants or whatever it is, right? And I may not know anything about what's a 6, a 1, a 0, blah blah blah. But what I do know is if that's a size that doesn't necessarily, like the same a healthy person can fit in that size and an unhealthy person can fit in that size. That's very one-dimensional thinking. Yes. That's why I like these kind of podcasts, because they're more nuanced, right? Yes. So it's like the entrepreneurs that say, "Oh, I can't watch an hour-long thing or a 2-hour-long thing." You're in the car. What are you putting on? What are you putting in between your ears? What are you feeding your brain, right? Yes. It's like we all get in the car, ride a Uber or whatever, like go to a place, you're in traffic What are you listening to?
Yeah,
This is the kind of stuff. Exactly. What are we feeding, right? So the nuanced conversation matters a lot to me. And when that was the number one thing I like took away from that too was like, yeah, these are not like, these are things that require a little bit of intricacy.
It does.
You know?
Yeah, it does. And I like what you said. It's like the number on the scale really doesn't count. I mean, just recently when I went and I trained with a trainer, right? And she always checks my body fat and she checks my weight. And for a second, she was like, I knew I was a little bit heavier, but I knew that it was muscle because I knew how I've been lifting.
Yeah.
But she was kind of like, I don't think your body fat went down. I was like, no, my body fat went down. And it did. It went down, even though the scale went up just a couple, like a pound or two. It wasn't anything crazy. But it was like my body fat went down. So I knew that was muscle mass that I packed on. But like people are always telling me, Jennifer, you lost more weight. No, I weigh the same.
Yeah.
But it's the muscle that's being packed on. It's so that's
the reshaping too of your body. Like you have to have that vision of what you want yourself to look like.
Yep.
You know, the number is just an indicator per se. It's maybe a directional at best.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. Yeah. Like I think like I watch these bodybuilders and these fitness girls and they're like 190, 200, and I'm like, yes, like you don't have to be 120, 130, 140. You know, I don't want to be those weights, but I see like girls that are like muscle, right, and they're like, and they're bigger weight sizes, and I'm just like, get it, you know, do it.
Are you giving yourself? Are you heading towards the body that's gonna actually enrich your life? You know, like you have to have that energy. You have your knees were hurting, like man. You got time to lose the weight because your body, your joints can't handle that kind of weight, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah, not at all. We have Vera Lisa Davis said this is an awesome conversation.
That's Spirit Soul Science.
Oh,
shout out.
And she said, whoa, yes, healthy 6 or an unwell 6. That's very true. I mean, they have, and this, one thing, I never want to make a woman feel like she's shamed for her body size.
That's it. Right.
Doesn't matter if you're little, doesn't matter if you're big, doesn't matter. Like, you know, I know sometimes people feel like, oh, you're body shaming. And, you know.
Well, I had someone say that to me at my event. So I'm going to let you finish your thought.
Oh, no. I was going to lead to that because we were having that conversation. And, like, I know sometimes women who maybe are not curvy or have the Kim Kardashian, they might feel a certain way with their body, or someone that might be curvy or might feel a certain way because they're not thinner, right? And it's like, it's all these it sucks for a woman because there's a lot of pressure. Media puts a lot of pressure on women on how they should look, right?
So at my event, a comment came back to me. So my statement was
a comic or a
comment. Yeah. So these teeth, I wasn't born with these, so we're still learning how to use them. Hey, look, I'm not ashamed. This was part of my wellness journey. I had periodontal disease, and I was losing my teeth. And so part of my wellness journey, again, as an entrepreneur, if I'm in spaces and people are looking at me and my teeth are falling out, not a good look. And again, what it was affecting me physically, because I was getting all kinds of infections. So that's a side note. So yes, so sometimes I have to talk through that.
Yeah. They look good.
I appreciate that. But it's funny because I guess I'm so open and free with it, because anybody that knows me before 2020 would know these aren't mine because they know what my mouth looked like. But again, I want to encourage, healthy, take care of yourself. And so at the event, a comment came back to me later that when I said I want women of a smaller size to walk in and say, "Ooh, I wish they had that in my size," because that has been our experience. I've been curvy since I've known it. Like I was a 10 throughout high school, throughout even I think by the time I was in maybe 8th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, I had already developed into my body. I looked like a grown woman at like 12. And so I was already a certain size. And so you get that in your head that, but I didn't look fat. To your point, to see me, I look small, but I knew what size I was. And so going into stores, so again, I'm about to, kind of tell my age. There was a store in the 90s called 579. I was a 10. She couldn't go in there. She couldn't buy anything. And
I remember this store. Yeah.
So when you walk by the window and you see something, so Was that size shaming? No, they just knew that's who they were targeting.
The 5'7".
That was their audience. And so there was nobody outside with picket signs saying, hey, you're size shaming, extend your sizes. When you look online and you go to certain retailers, they go up to maybe an extra large. They may give you a 2X. But even that 2X fits like a large. Let's talk about that. And so I'm still struggling then to find things that I like that fit my style, my aesthetic, that I feel good in. That's the struggle. And so I want, again, the clothes on my rack. These are going to be clothes that women want to, they're going to look and they're going to feel good in. Yeah. That's part of what my mission is with this. I want you to feel good about the skin you're in. Yeah. Do the best to maintain it. Get to optimal. Let's work towards optimal. Yeah. But while you're working towards it, let's set some realistic goals. You may never be a size 6, and that's okay. Yeah. Embrace whatever that is for you. Set your intention, like you said, that body you want, set that. Because with your great legs, you may not be able to put them great legs in a size 4 pants. You just may not.
I'm 5'8". I'm tall. Like there's no.
And you thick. Your legs are thick. You got some meat on them legs. And shape. So again, being realistic to say it's okay if I'm not that. What can I be? That's optimal for me. Oh yeah, let's work towards that.
Yeah. I love that. So, and I don't know if Ron, can you relate to like the do men relate to this?
So I was gonna say,
like it's more pressure on them in this culture.
Really?
I was gonna say the pressure's different. So, this is speaking generality still, right? But I think for men, they kind of put it on themselves and it's quiet and it's in the corner. Mm-hmm. That's the guys that may not want to leave their room. They don't really have the motivation to go say hi to a woman. Yeah. They don't have the motivation to go out and do that. So it's different. It's more internal.
You ever seen the man girdles out now?
Yeah, they got different things that's out now. Yeah.
Men are getting plastic surgery. They're doing the same shapers. I saw a man sit in a chair and he got a full weave because they're feeling that pressure to be an aesthetic version of something because of whatever society is telling you is beautiful or acceptable. That's why I love the idea about you set your intention. Yeah. What do you feel is optimal? What do you feel good about? And don't tell you. And again, what's sustainable? Because I'm gonna get back to that. Because let's be real. Certain activities and behaviors are not sustainable. Because if you got diabetes because of your diet at 35, it's not sustainable. Yeah. Let's just be honest. And so I want to balance this conversation. I'm not saying just be out here YOLOing and then just say, hey, no. I'm saying be honest about what's sustainable. But yeah, man, I feel like you all are under a different type of pressure in this year. I mean, this culture.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's now or back then. I just know guys tend to not seek help, right? Mm-hmm. So that's why you see a lot of women groups and women are going there, they're seeking advice, they're listening, they're all that. I noticed like an observation in my banking career when I first started hiring people. I got my first branch when I was 23. And basically I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try finding me, like people that want to work as hard as me. Then towards like the halfway parts, then I realized I was hiring women, I was hiring more diverse people, and I noticed that everyone, like women, listen better. People that you would think wouldn't like want to work as hard because they got other things on their plate. Have you heard that expression? You want something done, give it to a busy woman. It was like someone told me that, and I was like, oh wait, that's exactly what I ended up figuring out in my career, and I started not having to manage my stuff as much because people were there wanting to help, wanting to learn. It wasn't like, please sit down, please. Like, that conversation no longer existed when I started hiring more women and more diverse and just generality, people that would have been passed over for a position because of the fancy location we were in, So I started changing the dynamics of things like that because I always wanted to hire based off how good you were, how good you could be, not necessarily just for hiring a checkbox. And it happened anyways because I started listening out to things, started looking at like what people were actually relating to, what people wanted to say hi to. So kind of coming back to the guy thing, yeah, guys suffer in silence. That's the majority of what I see, is the guys suffer in silence. They don't want to go out there. They want to put themselves out there. They want people to pretend that they know all the answers. They rather fake it in that sense too,
Well, yeah, I mean, I could see the struggle for a man because like men are the leaders, right? And men have the egos and they want to feel like they can provide value, right? But I always had the impression that, or at least what I've been learning, right, is that men's value goes higher as they get older, right? They like,
if they're doing things right, you can increase your value over time. So let's say, men were sent to war, right? Men's lives are always like started at zero first, and then you kind of increase your value,
sure,
by what you're doing. So I think like there's twofold. If you're a high value man, you have people like women that want to come talk to you, that want to learn from you.
yeah.
If you're a guy that never invested in yourself, now you're struggling to be able to, you're like, there's no one out here. There's no one for me. People don't want to do business with me. It doesn't matter the lens that you're looking at. It's just harder for you if you didn't invest in yourself,
Wow.
that doesn't, and that's the struggle with men. It doesn't mean that women don't have that same struggle. I just say it starts a little bit more internally for the guys. But they go internally, right?
Also, it's an internal thing versus women, it's an external thing. Because for women, it's like the hair, the age, the skin, the body, right? And like, and I've heard this before where, and I might be wrong, but maybe it's in the world that I was in, or am in, I should say, real estate, right? They see women as their value lessens as the older that women get. And right, because they're, men are looking for the younger women, men are looking for the prettier women, they want youthful women, right? So it's like, well, damn, like I'm reaching the 40s, right? So it's like, so then like that pressure gets real for a woman because now it's like all the external stuff that we have to pay attention to, right? Versus like you just said, a man suffers in silence. They're dealing with the internal stuff. And they're dealing with, can I provide value? Do I look like a leader? Am I credible? Can I pour into someone? I could see that.
Well, one of the things that I've learned, so you'll see behind Ron and Jennifer male clothes, because I have a partner that he does the same type of work that I do. And so we were having conversations around, providing garments, and he has helped me a lot with the male perspective, though, especially along this line, because his conversation a lot is about what men are given permission to be in terms of your humanity. And so to see the human side of a man, we sometimes as women, we don't give you all permission to be that as fully as we take permission to be. So we can deal with our emotions as loud as we want. We can deal with our feelings as loud as we want. We have safe spaces because the girls, we gonna come together and we're gonna talk about it loud and strong. But I don't think men have found that. You don't find safe spaces together, and you don't find safe spaces outside of in your home or outside of your home. So how do you deal with just your humanity? Because again, you got feelings like I got feelings. You hurt like I hurt. You cry like I cry. You're happy. You're excited. You're scared. You're a little trepidatious. All these emotions that women find permission in this society to express, because we'll get online and express it. But the minute a man expresses his humanity in the sense we call him weak, we tell you that you in your fifis,
You're not in control.
You're not in control. And so to give a man permission to be as vulnerable as he needs to be, especially like think of an entrepreneur now that has to carry all these other people on his back. So I'm dealing with this, but then you say you go home, that aspect of relationship. That's why I love when you brought that up. Make that those of us that are in relationships with men, that we provide that safe space for them to be human. Because again, we can sit here and have a conversation about the curves and how people look at us. Imagine a man having that same type of conversation about how he's perceived in public based on how he looks or how he talks or how much money he has, because those are the measurements for you all. Our metrics look different. Your metrics are a lot of times about what you've produced in life. And so what if you haven't gotten there yet?
Yeah.
And so you put this pressure on yourself to produce. And what if it just hasn't happened yet? Oh, you're less than a man. So now you're not a high value man. And so you're not deserving of this type of woman because you're not a high value man because you haven't done X, Y, and Z. And so to have those safe spaces, so that's why I appreciate about being able to engage with my partner, because he provides that perspective, because he's very open as a Black man about those challenges and the things that we as women and as people in the spaces and engage with men, especially men of color, I think that's an additional layer to that conversation, that we give you permission to be human.
That's very, very powerful. Yeah, so it's not a topic that I really talk about out loud that much, but I'll say this: like, guys tend to have less friends that are close, So if they moved around, forget about it. If they were in the same city and they kept their same close friends, chances are they're also not someone that has achieved much, because maybe their friends are the ones holding them back. Right. So women will enter new circles. They're social creatures. They're talking to everyone. They're doing all these things, where guys tend to be the creatures that want to just be like, I know what I know. I like what I like. And that is what it is. And that's the life that I was given. And that to me is a losing mentality. You also have to adapt, So there's a lot of similarities. I always tell people, sell the journey that you're on, like, yeah, you are currently working at Family Dollar, making X amount, but your vision is what? And then what steps are you actually doing to make that vision happen? Sell that, the person you're trying to attract will buy into that vision, especially if your actions go into it. So it doesn't matter. We're all human. We're all got the same skin per se, right? We got the same feelings. A 10-year-old saw what Jennifer is doing. Yeah. This is biological. This is like, we see action. We now we believe you. Yeah. Now we believe you're gonna do something. Yeah. So it doesn't matter where you start.
Yeah. I love that. And I think and I don't know how we're getting into relationships, but I think it's critical, possibly, and this is just from a woman's perspective, for a man to have that right woman to be able to have that safe space. Because if I'm listening to you correctly, you're saying men don't have a lot of friends, right? Society doesn't allow you to be emotional or vent or share your feelings. So then where is it that you go to have this safe outlet, right? So obviously why they get into the sports, why you get into whatever you guys get into. And then, of course, having the right, and I keep hearing this, like, let the woman be my peace and all this stuff, which is true. I mean, if you guys don't have an outlet, you need the woman to be the outlet.
But it goes both ways, right? Like, the man also has to be the peace. He has to know when to turn it off if he's,
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, so
I agree.
Peace. Like, the relationship needs to be peaceful at home.
Oh, absolutely. I definitely, for me, the man has to be masculine, right? Like, if you feminine, like, we have a problem here, because I'm feminine and then you're feminine and we're just going to be like bumping heads all day. Like, I need masculine energy because I need to be my feminine and just be who I need to be emotional, be whatever, right? So, like, a man that's grounded, I think, and going to your point of, like, they don't have to have it all together. They don't have to have, like, they have to have a vision. If I'm aligning myself with any partner or spouse or whatever, like, I don't care. Just have a vision and be a hardworking man. Like, that's, to me, like, I remember someone told me once, because I said, I'm okay with blue collar workers. Like, I remember I said that, right? And a guy was like, why would you go down? Right? Or why the phrase was date down. And I guess because in their eyes, I'm in the real estate game and all that stuff, right? And I'm just like, no, if they're a hard worker, my dad's a blue collar, like, I've been surrounded around blue collars. Like, to me, I like a man with, like, strong, like, working hands, right? So if they have a vision and a mission and they're accomplishing, I don't care, like, what exactly it is, just be doing something. And of course, entrepreneurship would be ideal, right? But, whatever God has,
Right. Oh, no.
Well, we've had a great conversation. We're at, let's just do this. Let's wrap it up, because we definitely passed our normal time today, and that's
sorry. Everywhere I go, I was on a podcast. I'll shout out Carlos. 3 hours long because it kept going. But this is a good topic, and it's a topic that a lot of business people may not put a lot of time in. Yeah. But it's a topic that impacts their business because their home is broken. So imagine, you're actually wealthy, like, you actually got a business going, you actually hit a couple, you pass your complexity ceiling, all that kind of stuff, and then you come home and it's what?
Just real life.
Yeah. And if you can't take those savior words for the home. Yeah. Because if you can have people around the family table, have a vision for the family, let the woman tap into their femininity, because everyone has masculine and femininity.
Yep,
I
that's
have
true.
to use a certain part of my femininity as a
Yeah.
man to do XYZ, right? So everyone uses those components for it. And if a woman's always in her masculinity, then good luck for her to try to go back to femininity.
That's a
Right.
whole survival mode.
Exactly.
That's a whole other
Okay.
conversation.
Yeah.
Like now
That was
you got me.
that was my marriage. That's a whole
Now I
other
want to
podcast.
start talking about this.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
no, why'd you open this up?
Yeah, she was trying to rap. She was trying to
I
rap.
was like, no.
She was trying to rap us.
That's why you got to watch every episode
Yes.
of the Wise Podcast.
Oh my gosh, this is, we need a part 2 for this because I have so many opinions around femininity and masculinity.
Yeah.
I did a whole retreat on women embracing femininity. Like, because when you're in survival mode, if you don't have the right partner, you operate in masculine energy. I love the fact they said we both have it. We both need to know how to balance it. I love that you said that because when people don't realize that when you're teaching masculine energy, when you're leading masculine energy, but when you're creating, nurturing feminine energy, right? So like if people understand the difference and know when to turn it on and when to turn it off, right? So like I was saying this in another show, like I know when I'm around masculine, I turn on, go to my feminine, right? And I know that some men need that so that because of the business side of things, they need to feel like they're in the lead. Fine, right? But with women, it was a Rico Suave show. I was talking about this. With women, if I'm coaching women, guess what? I gotta up my masculine energy because they need the leading. Right, so it's like being able to know when to turn it on and turn it off. That's like critical for entrepreneurs.
What words to use when you're in front of people versus what, like, if you're gonna talk to a young teenager male and you want them to do something, you think it's gonna work if you're feminine? If you're tapping into that, right? They probably need a little bit more discipline. Move this, like this is the consequence. Like it just depends, right?
Yeah.
Like you're talking to an 8-year-old or a 6-year-old, right? Who's kind of a little bit. You need to have that femininity, maybe in the beginning, so that they can kind of trust you, and the masculinity to kind of show you why it matters.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so we all use these. It's a skill.
Yeah, it definitely is a skill. So for those that are watching, if you guys want to check out Curvy Girl Culture, it's on 1200 West 35th Street in Chicago in the Bridgeport Arts Center. And then, of course, if you want to reach out to our guests, you can reach out to her at curvygirlculture2024@gmail.com. So thank you so much, Jenille. And do you have any final words you want to share?
No, this was excellent. Thank you so much for having me on. I enjoyed this. So yeah, and I would definitely tune in for the part 2 on that masculine.
Oh, that's a
energy.
whole
other
thing. We should do a whole event revolving around that,
absolutely,
right? Drinks and everything.
Absolutely. I'll bring I won't be on my detox.
It'll be the tequila.
Tequila tour. Tequila tour.
Tequila tour, right? No, I'm just joking. But yeah, no, thank you, Ron, for being the co-host and filling in for Kim and sponsoring. Chat Advice is the sponsor of the show, guys. He's been supporting. He sponsored the business boot camp. He's sponsoring the podcast. So what's the website? Chat Advice?
Yep, chatadvice.com. There you'll be able to see like a couple different use cases of how you could use texting. But I'm a big relationship type person. Even if you haven't met me in physical world, if you text that number guest to 470-375-9088, it'll send you my link to be able to book a Zoom call with me. Let's go one-on-one. Let's go deep on your business.
It's guest.
Yep, guest.
Okay, I'm just adding it here. So 470, you guys heard it? 470-375-9088. Text guest.
Absolutely.
And then you can chat up with Ron here. So thank you so much, guys, for your time. Thank you, Jenille, for being on the show and being a sport and dealing with our 2-hour-long conversation almost.
It was a whole vibe.
Yeah, and thank you, Ron, again. I appreciate you for being here. So thank you, everyone, for watching. Stay tuned for next week. God bless you guys. Talk to you guys soon.